Hello, my name is Roy Potter, and I'd like to welcome you to this YouTube site, RoyPotterQA, and that of course stands for Roy Potter Question and Answer. And this is the place where we're going to explore issues that are current and past. You might wonder why I'm standing in front of a star field, and the reason I'm in front of this star field is so that it represents the universality of all the questions and answers that we're going to go through. Everything but the private issues. We want to address history, we want to address politics, we want to address science, spirituality, religion, all of those areas. You might be wondering what my qualifications are, and I'm happy to address that. Of course, if you look at the profile, you'll see that I have extensive experience in the military, intelligence, police, security fields, and I have a standard amount of education. What's important about all of that is that not only do I know how to ask questions, but I know how to find the answers. Does that mean that I know the answer to everything? No, of course not. And when I don't know the answer to something, I will say that I don't know the answer, but I will enlist the help of those who could help us find out. And a couple of those are links on this site, one of which you'll see is Man of Truth, and that has to do with the economic situation. And the other is a colleague of mine who is in the study of the Dead Sea Scrolls and the history of our religious institutions, particularly in the Western Hemisphere, the Western society. And those are the types of people that we can enlist help in. Now, do they know the answers in every situation as well? No, but the important thing is that we'll be getting some of the best information we can. As I speak today, it is February 26th, 2009, and we have been in a war for some time, a war that is called a war on terror, which, by the way, is something that you can't do. For one thing, the Constitution doesn't allow such a definition as that, but people use these types of things because most of us, the government uses these types of things because most of us don't know what the actual facts of the matter are, what the parameters are that the government can work on. If we don't call them to task, they pretty much get away with anything that they want. Also, another thing that's occurring right now, and it's a real tragedy, is that we're having a very dangerous economic downturn. Again, why I have the Man of Truth on, there's a link here to this site. A year ago, in December 2007, January 2008, the government was saying that everything looked strong, everything was fine. Those in the know knew that wasn't the case. You can't run on credit and consumerism forever. It is bound to come back and haunt us eventually. The subprime loans on mortgages, right now I find it incredible that they're trying to blame the homeowners, but the real people that were pushing those were the mortgage brokers and the government. And of course the people are going to accept them when they can, especially if they think things are only going to get better. The real problem here was dishonesty on the part of government officials and on American corporations, and that's the sad part. As I said, just now they're admitting within the last 2 months that the recession started a year ago. We are on the brink of a major depression at this point. Of course, they're not going to admit that. You can't fight credit with credit any more than you can fight fire with fire and have it work effectively. So the depression is only around the corner, and I'm afraid that this is probably going to be worse than the depression of the 30s. Now, a little hope here, and the hope has nothing to do with our establishment institutions. Men have created this financial empire to control the means of production. Just the same thing that they talk about as being the bad parts of the Soviet Union in old times, or communism, or whatever. The same things exist here. Do we really have capitalism now, true capitalism? Ladies and gentlemen, we're supposed to be a democratic republic. We haven't been for a long time. We're supposed to be governed by Constitution, by the Constitution of the United States, which is not supposed to chain the people. The purpose of the Constitution is to chain the government. We've forgotten those principles because we're all a little greedy. So getting back to the economic situation, it's here because those Few have controlled the monetary system for power, political power, economic power, and their own benefit. That's why the Constitution is written, is to protect us from those types of things, or at least give us the tools to do something about it if it goes awry, which it obviously has. But the point of hope that I want to bring out is this. If the monetary system failed completely, if everything fell apart tomorrow, it's only because of the power of men and their manipulation of that for their own gain that we will suffer. Because the earth can still produce food, the earth can still produce the minerals, the metals, everything that we need to use. It can take care of us. Of course, we need to take care of it, but it has the capability to take care of us, even if our economy fails. So, go out and start your gardens, start to work with your neighbors and your friends, your family. Learn to make the things that you need, barter. As I said, the earth can perform it. It's who controls those resources that has brought this difficulty upon us, and primarily on the monetary system. We were warned very early on by our forefathers about national banking systems, international treaties, all those things that tie us down. Why the big push for globalization a few years ago? You see where it got us? There are nations for a reason, because just like individuals, you can't trust them. You need to bind them up and make sure that your borders are protected, whether it be your house, in your yard, the inside of your car when you're traveling down the road, or the borders of our country. We can be open, we can be generous, we can be charitable, but we have to be able to protect ourselves first. It's not being isolationist, it's being real. So, again, we want to ask the right questions here, and more importantly, we want to have the courage to ask the questions and to deal with the answers. So, that's what we'll try to do. If you would like to get a hold of me, my email is probably the best way. It is rpotterii@live.com. Let me spell that out for you. It's all lowercase. rpotterii@live.com. By the way, the II was supposed to be 2, but it didn't come out that way when I typed it in, as most of you probably know. So, again, welcome. Thank you for coming to the site. We'll have a good time talking about some of these things. The background will change from time to time, as I was saying. I want to keep your interest. So it shouldn't be just educational. It should also be entertaining. At least I hope so. So thank you again for joining us, and I look forward to having a good communication with you.